We should really have things written down. We're going to start writing things down. All right.
Hey everybody, this is The Wrong Podcast. I'm Led, this is Joe, this is Colton. I'm blowing through the names so we don't get stuck on those. This is episode 2. We don't have a title for it yet.
I like Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo.
I think we're going to go with that.
I like it too.
Yeah.
Okay, so Joe, you're kind of running.
I'm running the show today.
It's all you.
This is going to be a disaster because it's me. All right, so I guess we'll jump right into things here. If this is your first time listening, this is a podcast pretty much about dorky stuff. And if you like dorky stuff or anything really, you know, maybe we'll even talk about some non-dorky stuff. But mainly dorky
We're
stuff.
not going to talk about non-dorky stuff. What's non-dorky stuff?
I do want to start talking a little bit about cars, and that's...
No, we're not going to talk about that.
No. No, as a third of the votes here, as a full 33% stakeholder,
So
we're going to be talking about cars.
All right, fine.
Someday, not today.
Oh, okay. Oh, they meant today.
No.
Well, I guess we'll start it off how we'd like to do. What are you guys up to lately? What are your interests? You gaming, watching, working on your car? What are you doing? We'll start off Colton.
I didn't. Unfortunately, I didn't get to play this, but I had a bunch of buddies that played the Division beta, and I have my one buddy who's like obsessed with it right now. He's one of those like personalities where he gets like super into something, and it's all he'll talk about for the end of time. We did the same thing with Destiny, but he played it. He said it was outstanding. He said it was like the best game he's played in a really long time. So I'm not playing it right now, but I'm really looking forward to playing the Division when it does come out.
That's a really big claim.
Yeah, it is.
I feel like it's a game that you could drop a lot of time into.
Yeah,
it's addicting.
You and me talked about this last night when we were having dinner. Is that we're not really a big fan of grinds like in games. And I feel like this game is going to have a grind scale, that it's going to have like 20, 30 hours of content, and then it's like, oh, you need to get this weapon by playing this strike 50 times. And I played too much of that with Destiny. I'm not going to do that again.
It's hard for MMOs and giant open worlds to get past that grind aspect for filler.
Yeah. That's pretty much. I'm not really doing much of anything.
Watching anything lately?
I mean, I watch a little bit of everything. So I know last time I talked that I'm really into the Flash show right now. Actually, the one thing I did just watch is I just binge watched the first 2 seasons of Rick and Morty, and I've watched a couple episodes, but I finally like no.
But you can find it on the internet pretty easily.
Yeah. Gonna gloss over how I found it. Thanks. But no, that show is hysterical. It's so good. And it's just I now understand why people love the show so much now that I've watched every episode. And I'm now even more jazzed about the next
It's really
season.
funny, isn't it?
It's really funny. It is it's got that like Bob's Burger like dry wit, but more like adventurous and fun.
I've even watched a couple YouTube videos going into in-depth on the show, just on how they like actually expose like scientific stuff, especially because the whole elements of how they can literally do anything because they hop through different dimensions,
right?
And so one dimension could be normal life, the other dimension could be a planet full of flesh-eating people and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that was an episode. Yeah,
Zane could still be in one direction.
Aww.
No spoilers, but the main characters die and they actually continue on with it.
I was gonna say I don't know. So without spoiling much of anything, that was a really crazy turnaround. I think it was in the first season.
Yeah,
where like everyone died, so they just went to another dimension where everyone was still alive, and that's where the show's been since then. But his family are just like an exact copy of his normal family, and then they like buried their selves, and it was a really fucked up episode. It was really
there's
messed
a lot
up.
of effed up moments in that show,
but it's a great show. It's really funny. I recommend it for anybody. So
for sure. What about you, Edwin? What have you been up to lately?
Well, I've been spending a lot of time working on my Spartan costume.
Ooh.
So yeah, later on I'll bring it up for the camera. I have a crotch piece. I think you guys will really like.
He showed us all of his crotch piece earlier. It was impressive.
So, are you planning any like Comic-Con or con in particular to go to for this?
We've talked about this.
Yeah, we've considered which cons we're going to go to. I'm
Right.
probably going to Toricon. I might go to New York.
New York Comic-Con?
Yeah, so
Comic-Con?
you and me, because I've been to New York Comic Con, you and me have talked about going there. Another one that we've recently talked about is going to the Niagara Falls Comic Con, just because it's so much closer to us. And the one that I really want to go to is in September. It's called Fan Expo, and it's like Canada's equivalency of our Comic Con. Like there's like 100,000 plus people to go to this, like big celebrities and stuff like that. So, and that one's only an extra, 3 hours away. So it's manageable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I may want to go to a smaller con before I go to New York.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've been to them, but that's like...
No. We're going to throw you right in.
50,000 people. I want to work my way up. But, yeah, so I've been working on my Spartan armor. I've been really busy with trying to finish up web development coursework. But I ordered some parts for my car.
Any cool parts?
Yes.
Aftermarket stuff?
Actually, yes.
Yeah.
A cold air intake.
Does that
dual
give you
filter.
lots of HP?
Yes, tons of HP. Hundreds upon hundreds of HP.
All the P's.
All the
So that way you can run your car into more stuff and it'll take less damage, right? 'Cause you have more HP?
No, it's like an 8 to 10% increase. They say so conservatively, like 5%. So, but it's just a way of taking in air a little bit more efficiently.
Sure.
But for
Does it make your
50
car
bucks or
sound
whatever.
really loud, though?
Actually, yes, it helps with the tone. So when you hit that accelerator,
But your neighbor
Yeah.
would love you.
oh, they're gonna love me. They're gonna love me. But yeah, I'm hoping for maybe 5 horsepower. I mean, it's not really gonna be much, but a little more throttle response would be
Sure.
fine. And supposedly it gives you a little bit as far as gas mileage, but I don't know. I don't really drive that car that much.
Sure.
You're not really looking for gas mileage when you have a Corvette anyway, right?
Well, no, but I average 20. So that's actually
That's not bad for a
really
98 Corvette. Not bad
for a
at all.
V8.
Yeah.
It's actually solid. Because my CRV averages 22 or 23. So,
Sure.
and but game wise, I'm almost done with the first season of Star Trek: Next Generation. So
Game-wise?
that's good. No, it's not game wise, but it's what I'm doing.
It's dorkiness-wise.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. And all right. I will tell you one thing. Okay.
Yeah.
I've been playing Forza 6. I'm in the career mode. And I've been stuck on this Bathurst race. I shit you not. All right. Dude, you have to finish third or better in order to move on.
Mhm.
I think I've raced it maybe 15 times. And finally, last night, I beat it. Because I turned off, replay. Like,
Right,
if you
right.
crash into a wall, you hit a button and it goes back a few seconds.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I turned that off.
So
I
now
have
you
my
had to be
difficulty
more-
jacked up.
Yeah.
I'm doing manual.
Shit.
But, yeah, man.
You monster.
Sounds like you're ready for some competitive racing then.
Oh, yeah. I'm ready.
How about you, Joe? What are you watching, playing, gaming,
Well,
doing?
Last week I mentioned I was playing Fallout, and guess what? I'm still playing Fallout.
Yeah.
I am getting quite far in my settlement building. To those who have played Fallout, there's a location called Starlight Drive-In,
Yeah.
and I've put that into.
building
built
there?
it. I'm building it into a city that could rival Diamond City.
Wow.
I believe it or not, I have.
You picked like the smallest space to do that.
Yeah,
at, too.
and
It's so
what's-
tiny.
Build up.
Yeah.
What's hard though too is I'm playing on the Xbox,
Right.
So there's no mods at least yet, and there's a limit for your building, and in order to get around the limit, you can like drop like your scrap and
Right.
junk
Boxes,
stuff,
box.
but it takes so time consuming because I have to go out, get scrap from either exploring or buying it from shops,
Right.
throw it all on the ground,
Right.
scrap them all, and
Yeah.
then and that gives me maybe like 50 more pieces, so I then can build 10 more wall sections or something,
Right.
and then I have to do that all over again. But
It's very time consuming.
Hey, I'm sorry, I don't mean to super interrupt, but I'll make this really quick. So that we're not essentially playing the same thing next week, we should all play the new updated version of IDARB, tape
Yeah.
it for
we'll
next
talk
week,
about that.
and then we'll talk about
Yeah,
it.
maybe
Our thoughts.
maybe the loser of our debate round will have to have some sort of punishment via gaming, and we can record it.
Is that recording?
It just stopped. Sorry.
Okay. Why is it doing that?
I don't know.
Can you toggle that too?
Yeah. Keep going. Keep going.
And then
We're still recording.
All right.
I think that's mainly for gaming. I did go to something geek related.
Oh.
That was actually hosted by Colton here, a little
Right,
event called
right.
Geeks Who Drink, and that was
Right.
the first time I did that, and
Yeah.
that was quite a fun experience.
It is a lot of fun. It's really, for anyone that's ever done like a bar trivia, it's a lot of fun to do. And for being on the other end of the microphone and hosting is a whole different kind of monster, because you have to be meticulous, you have to be very on point with stuff. But it's a lot of fun, and I'm glad that you guys came out. It was a lot of fun. I know Led and his wife are going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks, and I think Katie and Sasha are, so they're going to come out maybe next time. So
Kate and Sasha are some friends, maybe
Yeah.
a guest appearance on an episode.
oh yeah, they'd be fun. on here,
Or we'll
so.
just steal a soundbite from them without telling them.
But no, it was a lot of fun. So thanks for coming out. But yeah, no, anyone that enjoys nerdy trivia,
Geeks Who Drink, for sure.
it's across the whole U.S. So find your local city and give them.
I
your,
bet even
your
if
time.
you're out in the middle of Hicksville, USA, there's probably a bar that has it.
I doubt it.
I don't.
It'll
we
be
don't
following
know
Yokely night.
the guys in Hicksville, USA, wherever that is. Probably in Kentucky or Florida.
All right. Definitely Florida. All right.
So from here, we'll move on to our first topic. So, as you guys know, I like to talk about video games just a little bit.
No.
You know, it's not like I didn't go
What?
to school
No
for
way.
that or anything.
Yeah.
But
I don't believe it.
You have to
so-
go for game design, right?
so Nintendo, they've kind of, when we think about Nintendo with consoles, Wii U kind of
I
kind
think
of a flop,
feces.
right?
Yeah.
You think
Yeah.
of feces?
I
No,
think of feces.
that's a compare estimate. They're saying that it's the worst selling Nintendo console of all time. Only
Really?
10 million units,
Wow.
where the Wii had 100 million.
Yeah,
Actually, they're
tons.
wait, no, didn't they just say they're up to like 15 or 19 million units, which is
But
still
it's
like,
still like the
I don't know
lowest
how they
amount,
jumped that
yeah.
much.
I mean,
last I heard it was 10 million.
Considering like there was a Super NES in every household, everybody had a GameCube or an N64, and you're right, the Wii has sold ridiculous. That's
Well, even
so
the Wii, people who
crazy.
didn't play video games bought the Wii. I
Yeah.
remember.
I mean, they had the greatest selling game I remember on the Wii was
animals
the,
were buying Wii's.
yeah was the Wii Sports game that came free with it,
yeah, that.
and everyone would play that.
Yeah,
Every single
Wii
person
Tennis,
that would
man.
play that, yeah.
And,
That's-
me, when I first started playing that, I was actually doing the motions,
Yeah.
but then I realized, wait, I can actually
Just-
play just by wiggling my wrist, which eventually all of those games devolved into.
just wiggling
Home
the
Run
wrist.
Derby was
But
awesome.
yeah, Wii U, big flop, and so everybody's kind of hyping, speculating that Nintendo is going to announce their next console coming out, which has been codenamed Nintendo NX. This E3, they think that's
Right.
going to be announced, and there's actually been some specs leaked
Not
out
excellent.
as well.
Right.
Well, here's the thing about the specs, though. That they're not a lot, but
They're
they
common.
mentioned 4K streaming, which none of the other consoles have, and
Right.
that sounds like they want to return to being a technological powerhouse back.
I remember the really crazy thing about the Wii U is that it came out around the same time as the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4.
like a
So
year
they're-
earlier.
Yeah, like a year earlier, but it came out before those consoles, but was drastically less powerful when it came to specs in almost every possible way compared to the Xbox and the PlayStation. So now it's like, oh, we have these two big name people, and then we got the Wii U. So for them, they have to not only do a console that's on par with those, but exceeds it, because they have to obviously make sure that lasts until maybe Xbox or PlayStation makes another console.
Do you think they're going to make a console to last the long run?
I mean, that's probably what they're thinking, though. And I don't plan that Xbox and PlayStation will be making new consoles for a long time anyways, but that's what they need. They need a console that'll be better than those two, specs-wise, so that it outlasts those two when it comes to hardware. That's what they need
No,
to do.
I don't think that's what they're going to do.
No?
I got to be honest. So I heard about the 4K streaming thing, but buried in there was the whole 900p target, which
Right.
I'm not. I mean, 900p's versus 1000p's versus 950p's. As long as the game looks good, that's one thing. But to me, having that as a target just reeks of of underachiever, which Nintendo has been really good at lately. So, I mean, I agree. So they really should make something that is technologically competent, and that's what they did with the GameCube, which was my favorite Nintendo console, and it was the last one I was really into.
Right.
So, just because, I mean, some people say they have to stick to the casual market because they can't compete. You know, they don't have the money to go against Microsoft, let's say. But
I think they have the money.
To be underpowered.
Yeah.
Oh, they definitely have the money.
I've read somewhere that Nintendo has enough money saved up that they could take a $50 million profit loss every year, and they would still be in business until 2050.
Wow.
They could lose $50 million
that
a
is
year.
That's big money.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think the thing about it, though, is that regardless of the hardware, it all comes down to the game selection. The Wii U, yes, may be a financial flop, but there are some games on the Wii U that I really, really want to play that I'll never be able to because they're not, multi-console games. Like the next Legend of Zelda, their HD, not their Twilight Princess HD remake, but their next actual Legend of Zelda iteration, looks amazing. It's an open world, going back to that classic N64 style. Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. It feels like that. And I'm a big Legend of Zelda fan, so the idea that I might buy a Wii U just to play this game. There'll be other games I'd get to play, like Mario Kart, the next Mario Galaxy games, all those kind of things that I don't get to play right now. So that would just be the reason that I would get it. Same reason why I'd buy a PlayStation, is I really want to play certain games, but then I'd be opened up to other games to play.
No, they're missing the all-important new IPs. I mean, Mario's great, cool, iconic.
Right.
Zelda, Samus, and all that. Dude, they really need new IPs.
Sure.
And they need a console that graphically can compete. Because, I mean, much as we don't want to believe it, but I think the majority of the game buying public is visual. They're looking for a visual upgrade.
Sure.
And, that's what they're willing to pay for. I mean, the PS4 is doing great because it was cheap. And it looks great.
Yeah.
So I think that's what Nintendo needs, and new IPs.
So Nintendo's president did come out saying that for on launch, they're going to have their hard-hitting IPs. They're going to have that new Zelda that they showcased already. That's going to be on the launch lineup. They also want to have another Smash Bros. Is going to be.
Oh,
and
that would
Nintendo fans love
Smash
Bros. So there's some of the best
that would
friends
sell
around the
console,
house party you could have right there.
I mean, for a lot of people, buying an Xbox way back in the day was to play Halo. So this could be to them that equivalency.
So if they've got the Mario, a Zelda, and a Smash Bros. In their opening lineup,
really, it's not recording.
No, it's
dead.
It's like the battery died, even though it was 100% full when I put it in there.
That stinks. I guess no recording.
I might need a new battery.
Okay.
Whatever, we can keep going.
We're going to keep talking.
Okay.
We'll just sub in images on our video with random bug pictures, which is our norm, apparently.
Beatles. Maybe we'll start an etymology class.
Yeah.
Okay. We have to make sure the podcast doesn't suck now, because we can't fall back on
our pretty faces. That's okay. Moving on to topic 2.
Yeah. I guess one last point I wanted to make, that you guys did mention that Nintendo didn't have a lot of third-party support, new IPs.
Yeah.
The new president also said that they want to work more in depth with third-party support to have those great games, whereas Wii U lacked third-party games that were good.
Yeah.
I think they can do it, but I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, I think when developers see maybe specs, and if they make a console that can take good games, because I remember working at Best Buy years ago that they would make Call of Duty games that would come out, and Batman Arkham games that would come out on the Wii, but they were always like light versions of those. Yeah, they were always like smaller, less good versions of those same titles. So the idea of having a Nintendo console that also releases, say, an Assassin's Creed game that has the exact same feature set on all consoles, that could be huge for them, because they don't have that right now. All they're doing is they're relying exclusively on nostalgia. That's all they're relying
Yeah,
on. Is
Mario,
Zelda, Mario,
Smash Bros. Those are all nostalgia games.
And as soon as that goes away, boom, you're done. So
yeah, good point.
all right, moving on to topic number 2. I know, Joe, you wanted to talk about competitive gaming in the mainstream sports.
Yeah.
So kind of, talking about, do we ever think that esports will be as popular as say, football or baseball or whatever else?
Yeah, so Twitch, of course, probably all of you have heard of, right?
Never heard of it.
Amazon bought it for something like $900 million, some ridiculously high amount.
Right.
And competitive gaming, we hear a lot of times in other countries, South Korea in particular, StarCraft has been able to attract entire stadiums filled with people. But recently, I don't know if you viewers know, but there's a little game called League of Legends. I've never actually played it myself.
Never heard of it.
Even though it's free to play. Taking on a really big competitive I've seen and also filling stadiums.
Yeah.
And what I'm thinking here is, do you guys think that video games, competitively playing video games with endorsed players, will ever reach the point of mainstream conventional sports where people will actually, sit around a TV or screen and binge on food and drink and watch
foam
competitive gaming?
And,
yeah, foam finger.
Yeah.
Halo #1.
It's a really interesting question too, because I recently saw a commercial that I think it's the CW, so Warner Brothers is hosting
Food and Drink
is hosting a Mortal Kombat X tournament live, like on TV in the next week or two or something like that. So they're going to have a recorded stream of people playing Mortal Kombat, and then they're airing it on television. And that combined with League of Legends tournaments. And Sci-Fi used to have that TV show. There was a reality show. It was like, who's the best video gamer or something like that. Do you remember that show?
I haven't seen that.
I don't think it's on air anymore, but they used to have like a reality show where it's like all the people are living in the house, and each week they have to do a different challenge, and then someone would have to leave the house until there was like the #1 gamer. But so I think that like gaming culture is huge.
You think it's growing?
I think gaming culture in general is probably some of the most diverse culture out there. That we have age ranges that go forever. We have every, and by every I mean the two genders. We have various homes. I mean, more homes nowadays have consoles than don't have consoles. And more homes have televisions than they used to, 10, 20 years ago.
and internet connections.
You make a good point there about the internet.
So everything nowadays is so connected, is so easily accessible, that the idea of expanding our idea of what a quote-unquote sport is to just another thing that's popular completely makes sense. I mean, there's always that question of, like, what is a sport? Like, I remember growing up, everyone's like, oh, cheerleading is not a real sport. I consider it to be, a very competitive thing.
It's more a sport than golf.
I couldn't do it.
Golf. But we also have, like, competitive poker tournaments that people watch on ESPN. So how are these, someone, like me watching someone play poker and me watching someone play video games, to me seems very much the same. Why can't video games be? It's because it's so new.
So, about half a decade ago, ESPN actually had a partnership with MLG, Major League Gaming.
Yeah.
And they actually tried to broadcast some events like Halo, Madden, and it didn't turn out too well. Their traditional audience didn't really grasp that.
No.
And do you think, I wouldn't mention the internet, do you think competitive gaming has a place on broadcast TV, or is going to emerge more with like how Twitch is going and do more internet events?
I'd say internet. I mean, Twitch is obviously a huge medium for people to watch other people playing video games right now. YouTube, for instance.
I'd say both, but it really depends on the game itself. So to give you an example, the Mortal Kombat thing I think will work really well, especially if there's good commentary. Because it'll be, kind of like you're watching digital UFC in a way. You can get behind one person or another, and
that's a good point.
And they can be pretty exciting. But, do I want to watch Joe play Fallout on CBS on Sundays? Not really.
Yeah, you're right. I think game does determine it too. First-person shooters, for instance, I think probably will be some of the more popular ones. Your Halos, your Call of Duties.
I think fighters would be popular.
Stuff like that.
You got to talk directly into the mic.
Sorry. I think, fighting games, first-person shooters. You're right. I'm not going to watch Joe play Fallout, but
I would watch me play Fallout.
There we go. Yeah, turn it so kind of like how I
would
have
watch yourself play Fallout while you're playing Fallout, while you're watching yourself play Fallout.
Well, you mentioned though, like you wouldn't watch me do it. I've watched a few things on Twitch, but I cannot stay interested for longer than 15, 20 minutes. Yeah. Normally, I watch somebody play, but after about 15, 20 minutes, my attention span wanes, and I want to watch something else.
Sure.
Now, maybe if production value gets better, like most people, when you first think of poker, you wouldn't watch somebody play poker, but ESPN made it good because they added all these elements. They added cameras, the pocket cams, so you can see their hands. They really made it more interactive.
They invited Sully from Godsmack to play some poker.
There's got to be things that are, if you're just watching a screen of people play, you're going to need more. You're going to need some great commentators. Sure. I think they're going to have to introduce some more ways you watch it. Who knows? Maybe with VR, if that takes off, that could make it very interesting on how to watch.
It will take off if it's the last thing I do.
I think you bring up a really good point too, and it's kind of a sub portion of this that I want to ask everybody is: do we think that one day esports players will be household names comparatively to like football players and stuff like that? Like everyone knows football names, but like will one day I be wearing an esports jersey with John Smith, the League of Legends champion, and everyone will know who that is?
I want a Big D McGee jersey.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Do we see that becoming a thing one day, where like not only is the game popular, but will the players have that fame that maybe that other sports players will have?
Well, I mean, we have that now. Do
we?
Do you see people wearing poker player jerseys?
Well, I mean,
because that's not
esports.
technically
esports.
No, the point I'm getting at is it may take a very long time because poker, esports, they're not considered a test of strength, a real sort of thing. And typically, a lot of those sports don't have jerseys. I mean, you can't really, they're not always team sports. So
sure.
If you have a team, it's easier to get into it and wear a Ravens jersey or something. But League of Legend meat hammers.
Meat hammers.
I don't know if that'll really catch on.
Definitely could be a lot of
merchandise,
take a while. Though.
Yeah.
Mountain Dew
Fatality
definitely wants
keyboards.
Competitive gaming to grow. They've got gamer fuel with their Dew and.
Should we tell the audience that it's just reflavored, what was it, Baja Blast or something, the game fuel?
But I love Baja Blast.
Spoiler alert.
Baja
Sorry,
Blast
everyone.
is one of the reasons you go to Taco Bell.
I haven't been to Taco Bell in years, but I would go for that.
Go just for Baja
Yo, there's a
Blast.
Taco Bell nearby.
Is there?
Yeah.
Joe, you want to get lunch after this?
We are not endorsing
After?
Taco Bell.
What do you mean after?
You mean, let's go right now.
Yeah.
Everyone pick up the computer that we're recording off of. I'm going to put it in my car.
Bring the boom headsets. So, I guess that's still open here. We'll have to see where that goes with gaming. Would you guys, though, actually sit down and watch it? Would you devote time on a weekend if there was a big event? Do you ever see yourself, planning, having a party, having people come over and watching competitive gaming like people do with sports?
The Super Bowl's this weekend, so you're kind of asking, like, would we have the equivalency of this weekend's Super Bowl event, but with esports?
Yeah. Or a large televised
or,
event. It doesn't have to be Super Bowl levels. But.
Right.
Or, can you imagine going to a bar and they have it on the TV there alongside other sports?
Dude, can you tell Knox to maybe give that a shot?
Knox would totally do that.
I bet they would at least try it.
I'll ask. I'll text James later. Bars, I don't know. I think you have to be a particular kind of bar. Most bars, no. But if there's ever like we just found out about that bar that has arcade machines in it here in Rochester, they might. I've never been there, but that feels like that'd be the kind of clientele maybe that they would be interested in doing. Swillburger? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I would, but I think it depends on the game and it depends on the event. If it, I wouldn't, that's the really curious thing about this whole thing is that are they going to have certain televised things of just one game?
Yeah.
Like with Mortal Kombat X, how long can that actually last for? I mean, matches only last a few, unless they have
She has some
80
sort of ladder.
teams that ladder into one team, and they do the entire league in that one setting. Like, a match can last only a matter of seconds. They could run through an entire string of people within an hour.
No.
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, dude. First of all, you got to
then they'll
factor in
stretch it,
commercials. Then,
right.
if you can get to 2 or 3 hours, which is about the length of most sporting, like a baseball game's about 3 hours, I think it could work.
But that's what I mean, is that they'll it's a one-off. Can this be something that they can make a league out of, or a season, or a series of episodes that's in every Sunday type thing, or is a Mortal Kombat event, for instance, a once-a-year type of event?
I see what you're saying.
And at that
there.
point, will that bring the type of audience that sports will? Because football lasts for months, baseball lasts for months, NASCAR I don't think ever ends. So I don't know when it ends.
You're from Florida. You should know this.
should know this.
Have I watched more NASCAR than you?
Probably.
Okay.
You're also more of a car guy than I am. So can doing something like this get continued usage, continued watching, even after the fact or before the fact? Can they make this a seasonal thing, or just a one weekend out of the year type thing?
So right now, it still sounds like it's very much a niche market for competitive gaming.
Very niche market. I mean, I don't see my grandfather watching esports with me on the weekends.
Not yet. You got to get him into it.
Yeah.
Have him watch some rounds of Rainbow Six or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. He'll be punching the roof of his car in no time.
Though it's not to say that older audiences can't get into gaming. I had a friend's brother tell me that their mother just bought an Xbox and to play Fallout, and she's never played a game in her entire life.
Really?
Yeah, she bought it just to play Fallout. No gaming experience. So not to say that those old people can't change.
You guys can keep talking.
Okay.
Next topic. As you guys can tell, I am the worst host
Sure, you're the
possible
worst.
here. I'm going to segue into our next topic. We're all a bunch of gamers here.
Dry
We
segue.
like to talk about video games. What games growing up, your consoles that you first bought, can you think back to that time, the very first console, the very first few games that you played?
Wide-eyed.
Yeah, can you tell me some experiences on how that, do you remember the feelings? We know that nostalgia is a huge pull to us for,
Right. Everything.
Nintendo games, and a lot of those games were out when we first started.
Except for me, I don't give a fuck. Come up with something new, Nintendo.
For me, I played Nintendo games at friends' house and stuff like that, but I didn't actually own a lot of Nintendo consoles growing up. I never owned.
Sorry.
I didn't own a Nintendo or Super Nintendo. I didn't own an N64. The first Nintendo console that I believe my family owned was a GameCube. So I grew up primarily with Sega consoles. So the Genesis, the Dreamcast I loved, and then we had a PlayStation after that. So for me, like, my earliest memories of, like, gaming and stuff like that was on the Genesis and on the Game Boy. And for me, obviously, like, the Game Boy was like Pokemon.
Pokemon was your first game you remember?
I'm pretty sure that I remember getting, it was a birthday gift, and my family took me to Toys R Us, and I got a red pocket edition of a Game Boy, and then a red Pokemon Red edition.
Was the Game Boy Advance?
No. So they had the original Game Boy, then they had the Game Boy Pockets,
And then Game Boy Advance.
and then
yeah.
Game Boy. No, then they did Game Boy Color, and then Game Boy Advanced, I think. Because the Game Boy Color ones, like, they weren't actually colored, like the screens weren't colored, just the cases were colored, and it was stupid. So I got one of those, and I remember playing Pokemon ridiculous amounts. Like, I played that thing forever, and I think that right there is like a feeling that you can never, like, forget, is like your first, like, obsessive video game experience, like something that, like, I still vividly remember the name of the towns and the Pokemon.
Palatown?
And Palatown, yeah, and stuff like that, like, I will always remember those things because it's, like, my first big memory of completing a game. I mean, I remember beating that game and how excited I was.
To beat the Final Four?
Oh, God, the Elite Four, and then
Yeah.
beating Gary at the top of... Yeah, I mean, that's such a great moment as a gamer to complete a game, and especially, as a child, so...
Have you played a Pokemon game since?
Oh, yeah, I played... Gold and Silver. I played all of them until they started going to the 3DS, but I haven't owned a 3DS.
So you haven't played the latest Pokemon?
Nah, I did play a little bit
Pokemon?
of Pokemans. I did play a little bit of Black and White on a friend's 3DS a couple years ago, but I really want to get a 3DS so I can actually sit down and actually commit the time to play, because I'm sure I'd probably love it.
Have you heard of Pokemon Go?
Yes, yeah, that
augmented reality
Pokemon thing, yeah.
Can you explain it for the listeners who don't know about it yet?
Yeah,
they're gonna make a Pokemon game for phones.
yeah.
And I forget the company that's making it, but they have experience making another augmented reality game that I guess did okay.
Yeah.
And the whole concept is you are playing Pokemon wherever you go in real life.
Right.
So you hold up your phone, and your phone will show you if there's actual Pokemon. So you
Right.
might be in the middle of Times Square, hold up your Pokemon, and there's a Blastoise hanging out
Yeah.
around a marketing
Yeah.
sign, and you have to catch it.
So it uses your phone's camera as an augmented reality to superimpose Pokemon into the quote-unquote real world. But then it also, if I remember correctly, watching from the promo video, gives you this little watch attachment. It's like a wristband, and that's how
Bring out your Pokeball and stuff.
Yeah,
and use
it
a watch.
syncs up with your phone, so that's how you throw Pokeballs. But it's also a way that it also does communication with other players. So you and me, if we run across each other in the real world, this is how we could almost have a battle with each other, in a way. So it's bringing Pokemon into an augmented reality world, which sounds amazing. That sounds so cool.
I'm skeptical on if they can pull it off because
Yeah.
it is a phone, and let's face it, most phone games not gonna. You don't have many hardcore phone games out there.
Yeah,
Not like
your Candy Crushers.
Pokemon Red. You
Yeah.
said it got you drawn in.
That was
Who
that
knows
was
if Pokemon Go can
that was the one.
can duplicate that.
I need to hurry up and have a child so he can play this game when it comes out to get him hooked like I was. So
Edwin, what about you? Do you remember your first consoles, first games that you got?
Heck yeah. Oh, yeah. I have a thing. All right, dude, check this shit out. All right, so I was really young. We were walking through, Sears or some thing like that, and there was... I don't remember what console it was. It might have been, normal Nintendo or whatever. So I really wanted one. Instead, what I got was a hand-me-down Atari 2600. So I played that a bunch, and there was this weird game where you were a diver, and there was just crabs around, and... there was another racing game where the car was basically fixed on the screen.
And the screen moves in the background.
And the screen moves in the background,
Nice.
and the car moves left and right.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
have to avoid oil slicks and stuff. So then finally after that, I did end up getting an NES.
nice.
And I played Dig Dug. There was a Friday the 13th game that was just crap. Bubble Bobble.
Wobble.
Bubble Bobble.
I actually played that for the first time a year ago. That game-
Really?
That game's
I've never heard
awesome.
of it.
That game's awesome.
Bubble Bobble?
Yeah,
Oh,
is
yeah.
Is that the one
Dude,
with
you got...
these little dinosaurs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
It's the
yeah.
dinosaurs. Duck Hunt. I used to play Excite Bike, which I think was on NES first.
I think so.
I skipped Super Nintendo, and then in
skipped
1997, I got a Nintendo 64 with Wave Race and
Do you remember
Star
the exact
Fox.
day?
I don't remember the exact day, but I remember my dad got it from BJ's.
Nice.
Which BJ's, if you don't know, it's mainly an East Coast thing. It started in Massachusetts, but it's like Costco,
Yeah.
same
Or Sam's
concept,
Club
or Sam's Club.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. It's been crazy ever since. But it was an Atari.
Do you remember your first game that actually got you hooked? Made you,
The man you are today.
Yeah.
Man, I am today. Oh,
It was
GoldenEye.
yeah.
It was
That
GoldenEye.
was
It was
the
freaking
first of the
GoldenEye.
great console
showed him how to
shooters.
kill a man.
Yes, I've been shooting digitally ever since.
That was a great game. I mean, I didn't own an N64, but I played it.
I have one
And
upstairs.
We should play
You
it
still
later.
have it.
Oh yeah.
totally play
Oh, I
it.
got it.
But no, I mean that game was for a lot of people. That's what got people into shooters. That game was the standard of console shooters for forever. Because you got to think this is back when Nintendo was was console gaming.
It was
This
made
is-
by Rare.
Yeah, this was before or around the time the PlayStation original was out. This is before the Xbox made a console. So the standard of shooters was GoldenEye. This was
On console, yeah.
on console. Yeah, I mean for PC there was
You had
Doom and
Yeah.
Wolfenstein.
Unreal and but
Until
this-
Halo showed up.
until Halo showed up. But this was in everybody's way, the LAN party shooter.
And there was so much to do in it, like all the
Yeah.
cheats. You got the the
Golden
DK mode with the big
gun.
heads,
Yeah.
and slappers only.
Didn't they re-release?
They did,
They-
yeah.
they kinda remastered
re-released it. This is probably like 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
And they released it for like the Xbox and PlayStation, I think, as well.
Supposedly it was really good.
It was pretty good. So like it was just a digital remaster. It wasn't like a HD remake because it's really hard to HD remake an N64 game.
Yeah.
So they just rebuilt it from the ground up. The really weird thing, if I'm remembering correctly, what about it was that the Bond that you played was Daniel Craig.
No, they
In the-
changed
in-
the Bond.
In
GoldenEye.
GoldenEye, yeah.
Oh.
So like they didn't like make Sean Connery.
Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah, it was Pierce
Brosnan,
Brosnan.
sorry.
Sean Connery was a bit
Sorry,
before.
right. They
I'm
did,
offended.
They did Daniel Craig because he was the Bond at that time. It was like right after, around the time that Quantum of Solace was coming out. So
Okay. Do you remember Agent Under Fire for GameCube? So that after GoldenEye, there was, for Nintendo 64, there was World Is Not Enough.
Okay.
Then after that, Rare went and did Perfect Dark
Right.
1 and 2. Thereafter, when the GameCube came out, they ended up doing Agent Under Fire, which was a whole new story.
Okay.
And for the Bond with that, what they did was they took Pierce Brosnan's face, Roger Moore's face, and
Oh, they, like, put
Sean
them
Connery's
together?
face and put them together. And it was actually perfect.
Really?
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I'll
it
show
looked
you a
like-
picture.
yeah,
It
please
was
do, yeah.
totally in the middle there.
That's hysterical.
It'll be in the comment section.
Yeah.
Yes.
How about you, Joe? What was your?
So
Your-
I had
your
a bit
Bond.
of a deprived childhood starting out because my parents have never once bought me a video game console.
You poor
So
thing.
I was always a generation behind because I had to save up for my own console.
I like
so,
how you're the gamer of the three of us too.
well, that it made me respect games. I bought it. I'm like, I want something that I really want. So
Sure.
the first console I bought was a Sega Genesis, and I bought it at like one of these Dome Arena sales
My
where you
man.
get it for like $50.
Yeah.
And I remember the very first game I had was Jurassic Park, and it was
Oh.
a side-scrolling game.
My man, yeah.
Yeah, and I just remember playing that, and even when you're a little kid, I see my nephew do this when he was younger. You would just sit and you'd want to stand like 1 foot away from the TV, and you'd be bouncing up and down, and you just get so excited. And I just remember doing that as a
Yeah.
kid and getting like super absorbed into the game.
The Genesis had so many amazing games back
Genesis
then.
was great. You
like
had
like
Sonic.
was obviously the really big ones, but I remember playing like the Home Alone game.
I never played that one.
And actually, probably one of my all-time favorite ones when I was a kid was the Aladdin video game.
Yes, that game was so hard.
So difficult. I played it again on an emulator like a year or two ago, and I barely could make that through now.
There was Echo the Dolphin.
Man, what a great console! I think I still own one somewhere too. I will say, out of all the classic consoles, though, my one that always like has the most fond memories for me was the Dreamcast.
I remember
love-
playing Skies
yeah.
of Arcadia on Dreamcast.
Yeah, I mean,
and
Power
Shenmue.
Stone.
Power Stone,
they
Sonic
need another
Adventure,
Power
Shenmue?
Stone.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. What was there were so many amazing games. And once again, keep in mind that this was before PlayStation and Xbox really took off. If anything, the PlayStation 2 came out directly after the GameCube, or sorry, the Dreamcast, which is kind of what killed the Dreamcast. But that console was so advanced for what it had. It had memory cards that you could had little
And you could bring it with
screens
you,
on
and you
them.
could play. I remember
So
the
like
Sega
Sonic,
game,
and-
you could play
yeah,
the little.
He kind of looks like Archer.
I was just about
He
to
looks
say
like
that. Is that
Archer. Yeah,
Archer?
that looks,
Yeah.
It looks like Archer. That's the perfect James Bond.
Yeah, I'm actually. By the way, I'm surprised Microsoft hasn't bought Sega because they
Nintendo
were.
did.
Nintendo didn't buy Sega.
Yeah, they did.
No, they what?
Yeah, they did. Like years
Sega
ago.
doesn't
did.
make consoles anymore. I know
Yeah,
that.
they bought up Sega years ago.
What?
Yeah. All right. Moving
But I
on.
remember the first game that actually got me hooked, and still influences what type of games I like to this day, was Final Fantasy series. I started with Final Fantasy 9, but I liked
Really?
9 so much, halfway through, I got Final Fantasy 7 and 8, and I played all 3 of those games simultaneously. So I pretty much beat Final Fantasy 9 and 7. I never beat 8. I got really close.
Sega's its own company.
Like, those games got me so absorbed, and I still remember to this day, like, I remember all the music from Final Fantasy 7. I still get a little teary-eyed when I hear, like, Aerith's theme. Like,
Yeah.
those things, like, had, like, strong emotional attachments to me. And, like, the first overworld feel when you're in Final Fantasy 7, when you get outside of Midgar, like, just that expanse, and you just feel like you have endless possibilities. And that, to this day, I still have that draw for like, large, open-scaled RPGs that I feel like, the world is my oyster.
Yo, so Final Fantasy VII, I think Scott was the first person to introduce me to it, and he was like, dude, you got to check this out. This game is so awesome. All right, check it out. And I played it for half an hour, and I seriously thought to myself, this is dreck. I did not like it whatsoever. Sorry, everyone.
Well, it's influenced you to this day. Even now, like, you can't get into any sandbox-type games.
Yeah, you're not much of a sandbox guy. We
No.
tried to get you to play Fallout, and you weren't having that shit.
I don't
I give
know.
you these games for free. Fallout, Witcher, and nope.
I'm kind of like too competitive, I guess. Like it doesn't
To
speak
compete
me,
against
and
yourself.
I don't want to compete against myself. Although I do like Fallout, where you can build the
settlement.
Yeah. That's really cool.
That's a very cool
It's not
feature,
going to hold
so.
me for more than 30
Me and
minutes.
Joe, you and me, we're definitely more of that open world kind of thing. We like world building. We like influencing the story based on our decisions and stuff like that. Very few games, I think, really does it to the extent that you and me really enjoy. But you and me, that's definitely our peaches and punch. That's a term.
What?
Peaches
and Punch?
You ever heard that before?
No.
I have
I'm
not
pretty
either.
sure I made that.
Is that a
up,
weird
so
down south thing?
It's definitely a peach.
That must be a white people thing.
Is that?
I get it.
Is
It's
that kind
cool.
of like
It's
that,
cool.
That iced tea that they call down there. All it is just freaking sugar and water.
Jungle juice?
What do you expect iced tea to be?
All right. So our big momentous pinnacle of our
tip.
show here that we know all of you listeners are eagerly on the edges of your seat to hear the debate section.
Big shout out to our one subscriber, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
have a subscriber and views on our first video. So big shout out to that one person. Does anyone remember that person's name?
we
It was like Pope something. It's kind of hard.
It was
to
the
say.
Pope.
Popezilla the
It
Third
was the
is
Pope.
actually me.
Popezilla the Third. Oh, God. Damn it.
Wait, so is that really what we thought our one subscriber was, and it's just
Well,
me?
I didn't subscribe.
I did.
You two did, so we have one more. I
Okay.
think.
We're gonna find out who you are, and if we're somebody we don't know,
We're gonna find you.
And you stick around. We're gonna lavish you with many, many gifts.
Yeah.
By gifts, I mean
Not guaranteed.
probably like stickers and shit like that.
We have stickers.
Shut up. We don't have stickers yet.
But moving on.
So, talking about our childhoods here, today's debate is
That transition was
the-
so smooth.
Ooh, that was a segue.
going back to when we were on our schoolyard debates here. My dad can beat up your dad here.
I never had that debate. That sounds very immature.
Well,
I always had that
You
debate.
must have not lived in a rough neighborhood like me.
Yeah.
Because our dads would always be fighting.
Yeah, I grew up in the South where my dad fought an alligator, and Nazis.
And Nazis. It's an episode of Danger 5.
Yeah,
It's his whole life.
Nazi alligators.
The debate topic is, who do you think is the best fictional father and why he could beat up the other one's choice?
This is a good one. I don't
Okay,
know. I'm gonna let
who? You forgot to explain. All right, explain the debate and explain who's debating.
So the debate is, I will be the moderator, I'll be the judge, and it's going to be Colton versus Edwin. And I think this will be a pretty good one because whenever I debate, I'm kind of a pushover in my. I'm not forceful enough. I guess I don't get angry enough. So you guys have a few minutes here to think of who you think is the best fictional father and why he would win. So the first part is your choice and why you think he is the best father. And then once you two both say your choices, we'll then have why you think your choice can beat up the other one.
All right,
So
like this.
Can I have like 10 seconds to
yeah,
think
you
about
got
this?
a little
at
bit here.
least?
I
You
know
haven't
Colton
thought about
has a
it?
little bit of time.
I did a little bit, but I'm trying to. Okay, all right, I got it. I got
All
it.
You can go first.
No, we're doing the coin toss.
Lady
Coin toss, a CD toss.
Joe gets the flip.
We
the
have a
phone.
monitor driver disc.
I trust
First
you to flip the
So-
CD as much as the
Shiny
debate.
side or dark side?
I want the dark side.
All right, I'll be shiny side.
Dark side.
Yeah,
Edmund
which
gets to
means
go.
he gets to
Damn
go
it.
first.
All right. How much time do I get? You forgot the time
So-
thing. Were you here last podcast?
Not mentally, no.
I think last time I did 5 minutes per, and then we each get 1 minute as an additional wrap up after that.
The one before that, we did 3 minutes each.
Let's do
and
3
then-
minutes. 5
3
minutes.
minutes.
was too
I
much.
know when I was talking last time, it felt like 5 minutes. I was running.
Let's
out
do
of
3
things to
minutes.
say.
Let's do 3
So
minutes.
yeah,
All right.
I've got the
here's-
timer here in front of me.
Okay. I mean, you could just. All right, whatever.
All right.
All right.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. Hey, everyone. Thanks for being here. So, the fictional dad that I've chosen is the one and only, the incomparable, the unstoppable, the mastodonic and bulbous Homer Simpson.
Ooh.
He is the quintessential crazy person dad. I give runner-up shout-out to Randy Marsh. The thing about it is, Homer he's very impulsive, but he's able to really swoop in with the answer to the problem at the very last second. So, now as far as fights, we all know that he had that big giant fight with there was a guy who was trying to be a big brother to Bart. So they basically had the fight from They Live.
We all know.
But just, okay, so that episode of Family Guy where Peter fights the chicken,
Yeah.
they did that first.
Okay.
They got to that way before, even though they're all kind of biting off of They Live. Homer also seems to be indestructible somehow. Maybe it's the crayon in his nose that keeps him alive. So for his indestructibility, his fighting prowess, he was a boxer for a while. He fought in a championship.
Yeah.
Didn't win, but he fought.
Cedric
Dredrick Tatum.
Dredrick Tatum, a.k.a. Mike Tyson.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's really done it all. He's a former astronaut. He designed his own car. He juiced. He did steroids. He was really fat for a while,
Great father
just to
figure.
get onto disability. So I really think he would win. And a lot of other fathers are just rip-offs of Homer. Peter, Hank, others,
Damn it, Bobby.
Yeah. Damn it, Bobby. Oh.
All right, so you have about 30 seconds here if you want to wrap it up.
Yeah, Homer is iconic. Even though the quality of the show fluctuates, some seasons are good. There was one recent season that was decent, and then I don't know what happened. I think the movie was excellent, dude. Everybody in the theater was like hurting. It was that hilarious. Yeah, man, classic status, indestructible, fighting prowess. What else do you need, Joe? Joe, look at me when I'm talking to you. What else do you need? Okay, I'm done.
All right, well, I'll let Colton describe his here.
So, I'm going to go on, and I don't even need the full time because I think that you've already lost because you didn't really answer the question in the traditional sense.
Well, it was explained so crappily by Joe.
that who would win in a fight between our fictional fathers, and the clear answer is the one and only Batman. Bruce Wayne is a father. He is Damian Wayne, the current iteration of Robin, is his child, making him a father. And not to mention he's also adopted Dick Grayson and Jason Todd, making him also a father.
What the fuck are you doing?
I must admit, I did not know Batman was a father.
So not only is he Batman, the greatest of all the DC superheroes, he is the most prepared father in any sense. He has contingencies of contingencies to the point where he even has a plan to take down Superman. There's nothing that a father such as Batman could be unprepared for when it comes to raising a child, let alone his child being artificially grown and created by an Al Ghul and raised to be the greatest fighting and the future leader of the world, Damian Wayne. He is Batman. He has gone toe-to-toe with people such as Darkseid, as the crime syndicate, as the Joker, and he still always comes out on top. He has died. He has literally died at least a dozen times within, depending on comic book continuity, and has always come back. In recent New 52 fashion, he went to another plane of existence, another world, to steal an artifact from Darkseid to bring his dead son back. Spoilers, sorry. So obviously Batman is the natural choice for this because he is, in all purposes, I don't even need to say why he is the clear winner of this, because he's Batman. And that's it. That's your answer.
All right.
I thought I would. You know what? So as soon as I stopped talking, I thought I'm gonna get fucked up. And here's why. Because I thought you were gonna say Darth Vader. I would have lost. But that's why when you said Batman, I'm like, dude, you just blew it. You just blew it. You
Darth
totally
Vader
could have said Darth
would-
Vader.
If any of you had picked Darth Vader, I probably would have went.
I
with
will
that.
argue this, though, that in a fight between Darth Vader and Batman, Batman would still win.
So
I would
one thing you
absolutely
guys
argue
didn't
that.
really bring up, though, Colton touched on it a little bit about how he went to get a crystal to save his son.
I don't need to touch on everything.
What have they done for their sons? What makes them good fathers? You know.
Yeah.
You know,
No. The question is not good father. It's
It's two
ultimate
things.
fictional
it's the
father
best
and fighting
fictional father, and why they could beat up the other. So you have two. What makes them the best father? So you know, in order to be a father, you know, you have to be involved in your child's life.
You're the best.
You know, when I think of Batman, you know, I think he's so busy fighting crime.
Whoa,
How's he
whoa.
going to spend time with his son?
How is that not true, considering every person he's adopted and made a son, he has fought crime with? His son is Robin. His Dick Grayson, who he adopted, was Robin. Jason
Dick.
Todd, who he adopted, was a Robin. Yes, he's spending time fighting crime, but he's doing it with his kids. He's including his kids in his work.
So it sounds
Does
like he's-
Homer Simpson ever do that? You know, how many times has he taken the kids to the plant and stuff went wrong?
He's taking them to, what was that place? We got to go to Splash Town or something like that. Yeah, he's done stuff with them.
Yeah, no,
he's
I'm
not
sure,
perfect.
I'm sure that he's done stuff with them.
But he's better than freaking Batman. I mean, oh my goodness.
How?
Dude, we're talking about fathers here. Batman's not really known as a father. That's not his thing. Homer is one of his sole properties that makes him stand out is that he is both a good and a shitty dad.
He does choke his son.
He does choke his son.
That's
Yeah.
definitely.
And I
would
can say
probably
Batman
get
has
him
never
locked away.
choked his children. Ever.
Then he's garbage.
Because he doesn't choke his kids. My dad never
doesn't
choked me.
fictionally
Are you saying that my
fiction.
dad was...
So, Edwin, how do you think if it came down to a fight, how would Homer Simpson beat up Batman?
Batman would be really, really tired after pummeling Homer, and then Homer would just give him one swift kick in the nuts, and Batman would die.
Really, Homer Simpson would commit murder on Batman.
It's Homer. How many people? Dude, he killed Maude. It was an accident, but it wasn't that
Accidental.
accidental.
Murder
the
doesn't
top
really-
stand of the
With the T-shirt cannon.
yeah.
I'm just saying that the amount of times that Homer Simpson has broken the law, that has twisted the law, and has done clearly illegal things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Batman has the clear win in this to take down Homer Simpson.
Oh, Batman's vigilanteism and just beating the shit out of people, that's legal?
Yeah.
Is that legal?
Yeah. You know what's also legal? Fuck you. No,
That is legal.
The point being that you're right. Joe brings up a good point. Who are the best fathers in the situation? Homer is he's a father. He's a good father. He takes care of his kids. He's a loving guy. Batman adopted a child to help him gain revenge over his parents' killers.
That doesn't sound weird to you?
And turned him into a hero who has saved the world, Dick Grayson, multiple times because of the influence that Batman gave. And the reason that he did this is because he didn't want Dick to turn to crime and become a murderer. He took a child in and put him on the path of righteousness.
Oh, he put him on a path, all right.
Yeah.
Batman
How
could be the world's best foster parent. It almost sounds. Like.
Yeah, but he's also an actual father. Damian Wayne is his actual.
Who's the mother?
Talia al Ghul.
So
from-
Bruce Wayne
oh, okay.
did a little bit with Talia.
Yeah,
al Ghul,
yeah,
huh?
yeah. It was a very saucy issue.
Dark Knight Rises. They actually, so that is canon where they do it.
That's
yeah.
typically canon. Yeah. So they had a little passionable night. He was still wearing the mask the entire time. I mean, I would.
I don't think that was Dark Knight Rises. That was the last one.
Dark Knight
Dark
Rises.
Rises.
Oh, Dark Knight is the second one. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. The third one is Rises.
Yeah. So
Joe, I'll buzz you in
Yeah.
when you.
so she raised the child until he was old enough, about 10 years old, and then kind of introduced him, Damian Wayne, to Batman, and Batman took him under his wing and made him the newest. And this was a kid that was raised to be a murderer, raised to be the next Al Ghul, the future ruler of the world. Batman put him on the path of non-killing and made him probably one of the best Robins we've ever gotten. So he took a murderer and rehabilitated him into a better person.
Homer has so many more adventures. There's a whole new thing.
More adventures than
hey,
Batman?
Hey, I gave you time, you son of a bitch. Homer's, dude, he's classic, man. And we're also comparing two different genres. So Batman's not really going for comedy, where Homer, I mean, listen, if Homer didn't do questionable things, the show would just, I mean, it would be like watching paint dry, which some might say that it currently is, but I would disagree, but I don't think it's like as good as it could be.
Sure.
Why do you lose? So you can pick yourself back up.
A quote from a Batman movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not losing right now.
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
and then the other point that Joe's trying to make as well as the argument before we wrap up into our final little stints here is who would win in a fight.
I still haven't gotten that out of you guys. Who would
Batman
win?
I just told you, dude.
his
It's
whole
Homer
argument
Simpson.
is that Batman would get tired from punching the fat Homer Simpson and then eventually lose
All right.
because Homer would kick him in the balls and then
Listen,
kill him. Are
Drederick
you
Tatum
even kidding me
should
right now?
have killed. Drederick Tatum should have killed any normal human being in one punch. All right, if you are tough enough to have Mike Tyson at his prime whoop your ass for 12 rounds, Batman's not going to do shit.
I'm just saying that Batman has fought literal gods and won. He has nothing to even compete.
These are
against.
different genres.
It doesn't matter.
We are even talking about different genres. Number one. Number two, Homer has gone to different dimensions, okay? All right, he has
That is
fought
true.
interdimensional
He fought
things.
like a polygon or something like that.
Your whole
Damn.
argument about
Cube.
your whole argument around different genres is just an excuse.
Yeah, I
for
can't go with
losing.
the different genre excuse here.
The whole point of
listen.
this argument is to pick different fathers, anyways, and have them fight each other. We knew we were going to talk about different genres in the first place.
Well, Homer's going to win.
No.
Dude, Homer
All right, I
Homer
think I
doesn't
made my
even
decision
seem to
here.
obey
I've
the
listened
laws
to
of
both
physics.
sides. I've made my decision. So, this was a two-part debate here. What makes him the best fictional father, and who would win in a fight between the two. So, for the first part, I'm going to have to go with the best fictional father. I will have to go with Homer Simpson.
Oh,
Because,
so wrong.
you know, I just don't feel like Batman would make that great of a dad. You know, I think he wouldn't be around enough. Even though Homer Simpson has some questionable parenting techniques, I think, you know, he has to take care of a bunch of kids that are forever stuck as being kids. You know, I almost feel like Batman got out easy as he picks up. He missed like the diaper changing stage and stuff like that. I feel like he got out lucky. You know,
I just want to argue the point that Batman also watches over the city of Gotham.
so they're all. Oh, you should have argued that then.
Oh, that's too bad. That's too damn
I would
bad.
have gave you points for that, but this is too late now. If you had argued that the Gotham was all his children, I would have taken
Five,
it. But
carry
two-
on.
I should have went with Darth Vader in the beginning.
So I am giving the best fictional father as far as the act of being a dad to Homer Simpson. But when it comes to the fight, I would give it to Batman.
Clearly. You're
You make a good point that Batman has
Your
fought
hat's
such
stupid.
a wide range of characters, everything from druggies to
Everything from
To God,
criminals to
practically.
criminals
Yeah.
to criminals.
yeah.
criminals that
To
happen
criminal
to be
gods.
Yeah. You mean criminals like Homer Simpson? He's next, buddy.
He is a criminal.
So since you guys have tied in this debate, there has to be a tiebreaker, and I think the tiebreaker has to be an arm wrestling competition here. So I want to get the camera if we can. Will it work for the last? 2
You're gonna have
minutes
to use your phone.
here? All right.
All right.
Wow, what a great tiebreaker.
All right. Can I use your phone, Edwin?
Yeah. So Joe, what you're gonna have to do is hold on to your. Try to hold on to your little mic thing. and just hold it
Cortana
close
is
to your
talking to me. How to Cortana go to camera?
Oh, did you put Cortana in your Android phone?
mic. It's on there, but I haven't set it up.
I didn't
It's
know
really cool.
Cortana could be on Android.
They
I thought
just,
it was only
they just moved it
Windows.
over.
I use her on my PCs.
Yeah.
So,
You might as well, right?
yeah. You got to go over there.
All right, actually, I'm gonna get on this side here.
Okay. Now you have to really ref this. So if he throws his body weight.
Yeah, all right. So
What?
you guys know the rules. There's no double arming it up in here. You pick one arm. Your elbow has to make contact with the table the entire time.
All right. You're filming.
All right.
Well, actually, hang on. It doesn't need to be in 4K.
We need full panoramic view of this arm wrestling.
We want to make out every skin hair.
skin hair.
Skin hair.
Weird way of phrasing that.
right.
We're the best.
On the count of 3.
All
right.
I feel like you're gonna win.
All right, elbows on the table.
I'm going full Ash Ketchum
All
right
right.
now.
Our elbows should probably be parallel, or whatever the word is.
3, 2, 1, go.
The Olympia's risk.
I'm a guitar player. What is that?
It's going nowhere. Oh, everyone make a little... Keep that elbow on the table.
Oh, that elbow.
You moving it.
elbow on the table.
I can do this.
Hey, elbow. Oh, Colton is the winner.
Batman.
Batman is the winner of this.
Oh God. I deserve this.
We're the best.
Around.
Okay.
All right. Well, actually, we're still recording, so I don't know.
Well, you could.
Yeah,
edit that
I'll
That was actually really fun.
No, I am going to sign out, though. All right, if you guys liked what you heard / saw, mostly heard, though, because our cameras went down, please like, subscribe, comment. If you hate us, tell us why. Give us a lot of detail. Kind of paint a picture. All right, see you guys next time. Bye.